you look on YouTube and all you see are people glazing Wuthering Waves 2.0. They go on and on about how the story is amazing, the characters are amazing, the region is amazing, the quality of life changes are amazing. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Wuthering Waves 2.0 has its problems, and I don't know why nobody is addressing them. And stay till the end to hear the worst, most vile part of this entire update. Obviously, this will contain spoilers for the 2.0 story, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go. Go on. Get out of here. Come back soon. Okay, let's start off lukewarm, and we'll get hotter as we go. The story. For the most part, it was good. I liked the twist about there having been two divinities, and Phoebe's existential crisis was actually done really well. But it wasn't perfect, and nobody is talking about its flaws. First off, are we really supposed to believe that Zani had no idea what Carlotta looks like or who she is? It's quite literally her boss. And even if she's never seen her in person, which is hard to believe, surely the first daughter of the Montelli family has been described to her. And even assuming she hasn't, she surely has heard her voice, and so would have recognized it when she spoke at the mask shop. But even if neither of those happened, we can't ignore the fact that Zani is literally a member of the Averardo Bank security team. She would have needed to be able to recognize anyone of importance in order to do her job. And Carlotta described her as their most trusted employee. So she wasn't a slacker. So was she just pretending not to recognize her? For whose benefit? Furthermore, for whose benefit was it that Carlotta refused to introduce herself immediately? There's literally a crisis. You'd think time would be of the essence. When characters do things just for the viewer or player's benefit, it annoys the crap out of me. It breaks the immersion. Like when the character we incorrectly think is a good guy all movie is alone in a room and still acting like a good guy, just so the viewer will continue to think they're a good guy? Like, no. As soon as they were alone, the mask would drop and they would reveal themselves to the viewer. But then the big twist wouldn't be a surprise. So just don't show us the twist character alone at all. Avoid the issue altogether. In this case, refusing to introduce her was just for our benefit and did nothing for the narrative. Next point for the story. We are supposed to believe that the truths at the abandoned towers were so incredibly dangerous, yet their solution was to declare the area forbidden and delicately poke a hole through just the faces of the stained glass windows. Call it a security boop, and carefully lay the broken pieces right in front of the windows for any curious puzzle enthusiasts to put back together. It's literally glass, and the stone slab too. Those should have been completely shattered into dust. And don't declare the place forbidden. Do you know anything about human nature? Another note on the story was that it's too interesting. I have responsibilities, as do many others. I have children whom I need to feed and care for, and many other gacha games I have to keep up on. But the story of Renacida engulfed me to the point where I missed my dailies on my other games, and my children had to remind me to feed them. Far too interesting and engaging. And the worst offense of the story, the puzzle rooms with Carlotta. These were super fun from a gameplay perspective. The chandeliers, shooting the crystals, it was all really fun. But this is the story section, not gameplay. The reason for all this was that we couldn't go through the front door and confront them. We had to surprise them. Yet after all the puzzles, we emerged into the room to confront two low-level grunts who knew nothing, in exactly the same way we would have confronted them had we walked through the front door. Carlotta didn't ambush them from behind or anything. She announced herself, calmly walking up to them like, was this all just to surprise them? So they'd go, hey, how'd Lady Carlotta get behind us? Which they recognized her. Why didn't Zani? But also, they weren't surprised, because we had just fought two enemies outside the door that they left for us, meaning they knew about the door and set a trap for us. So the whole thing was completely pointless from a story point of view. Just story though. Gameplay wise, super fun. And I can very easily suspend my disbelief for the sake of fun. Like I said, lukewarm. Mostly I loved the story. Very well done and engaging. Let's move on to characters. They clearly went for a varied community here. with many people from different cultures, but they did make one crucial error. Rinascita is based off of Italy, and certainly some of its citizens had an Italian accent, namely Zani. Incredible voicing, by the way. I don't care what anyone says. But of all the possible characters in the region that should have an Italian accent, the first daughter of the Montelli family should have been one of them. No shade to Carlotta's voice actor, she did an incredible job. I'm only speaking story-wise. The only possible way this isn't an embarrassing oversight is if the Italian accent, displayed by Zani and others, is not the Rinascitan accent at all, and in fact Carlotta's accent is the true Rinascitan accent. After all, it's a fantasy world. We only assumed the region based off of Italy would have an accent based off of the Italian one. Zani and the others with that accent could be from somewhere completely different. I saved this one for characters, but it also has to do with the story. I knew that there had to be a betrayal from someone we've met. That's just how these stories go. I had hoped it would be Phoebe so that she'd actually be interesting, but it wasn't. Instead, when it came, the big reveal, when they step out of the shadows while talking to Frolova, gasp, oh no, not the dude we casually spoke to twice. No, it can't be. Point is, there was no weight to that moment whatsoever. I didn't hate the guy, but I didn't like him either. We never divulged anything sensitive to him. We never put any trust in him. It was just like, oh, huh, okay, he's a villain. In my opinion, the correct person to have in that moment would have been Zani for the hardest hitting emotional impact. She was with us from the start. We bonded. There was an emotional investment for the twist to carry weight. Though there would certainly be plot holes with that, like why'd she try so hard to hunt down Gilberto? Was it just to keep us occupied, maybe? Chasing this red herring while other people did the real evil? Anyway, that would have been a true shocker. That or Margarita, the chef. Always right there while the bank security employee is eating, meeting with important people like us, close enough to eavesdrop, nobody would have suspected it. Another note about the characters. Zani and Carlotta. These characters should not exist. It's bad for the game. How is Kuro going to top them? They are far too attractive, mostly Zani. Like, where can Kuro go from here? They've raised the bar too high that even they're going to have a hard time reaching it again. And speaking of Zani, we should have gotten some explanation about her demon origins. Yet nobody batted an eye about the fact that she had horns and a tail. In all the regions we've seen, nobody looks like that, and nobody has even mentioned demons. So it's possible they don't exist, but there would still be curiosity. At the very least, people would think she's part Echo or something. But even if the citizens didn't show curiosity, the writers should have known that the players would be curious, and they should have given us something. Even an offhand mention of some faraway island where she was born. Then we could think, oh, maybe they're all like that there. I'm going to address one more thing before I get to the big one. This one isn't 2.0 specific, but regarding Kuro in general. It's infuriating how Kuro so quickly and openly responds to player feedback and treats their content creators so well. How fair and generous they are. Wall running was one thing, but now flying? Do they have any idea how that makes companies like Hoyo look? They aren't playing by the rules, and as such they've gained an unfair advantage over other, more dishonest and predatory companies. What are these companies supposed to do in the face of such behavior? And finally, the worst offense that 2.0 has committed. We didn't get the Zani banner first. Now I have to wait even longer for my waifu. Okay, if you got to the end, thank you so much for watching. As you might have guessed, much of this was satire. This update was truly incredible, and I had to work really hard to find even the smallest criticisms. But I'm a contrarian at heart, so I felt I had to play devil's advocate. I hope this provided some value, or at least some entertainment. I'm gonna fly. See you in the next one. Bye.